A generation ago, Ronald Reagan mapped out and executed a strategy for taking down the last totalitarian communist regime that sought America's destruction. That was the Soviet Union's evil empire. We can settle for no less with respect to our time's existential threat to freedom. Chinese Communist Party, CCP, can and must be thwarted in its determined bid to crush liberty, destroy our country, and institute what Xi Jinping calls global governance, directed and enforced from Beijing. So opens the description for a new book of incalculable importance. It's titled simply The Indictment. And its author is a dear friend, Frank Gaffney, former Reagan Defense Department official and the founder and executive chairman of the Center for Security Policy. And Frank is back with us in the Economic War Room. Welcome, Frank.
I'm honored to be with you, and thank you for that wonderful send-up, Kevin.
Well, hey, we've got a lot to talk about. Big problem, new book out. Let's start with the why. What is it that we're facing with China?
Nothing less than the existential threat to freedom, as you say, of our time. It is upon us, and as few people have understood better than you have, Kevin Freeman, and I've learned a lot from you about this over the years, it didn't just emerge. This has been building for decades because the Chinese Communist Party have had it as their plan to dominate the world. And they've always understood that we're the principal impediment to their doing so. So we had to be destroyed, starting decades ago before they had anything remotely like the power to destroy us the old-fashioned way in a shooting war. And so, as I know your audience is very, very knowledgeable about, because you have been mentoring them as well as me, they pursued the strategy, the hide and bide strategy, as Deng Xiaoping came to call it, of unrestricted warfare, and it's been devastating to our country.
Yeah, there's no question. And part of that strategy, I mean, Frank, I was honored to be part of a Team B effort to the CCP is at war with America. Part of that's biological warfare, isn't it?
It is indeed, and you've pointed out that that actually was one of the options that was enumerated in this seminal book by these two Chinese People's Liberation Army colonels. They had economic warfare, and they had political warfare, and they had other strategies to use information operations and elite capture and subversion and so on to take us down, not least using our money to finance all of it, as you've pointed out so often. But they also recognize that if they used biological warfare to depopulate our country, they could colonize it without having destroyed a whole lot of the infrastructure that they would want to build upon.
This sounds like a fiction novel, you know, but we're watching it play out every day in the headlines. So it's no longer feels like fiction. It now actually feels like a very real threat to even ordinary Americans that aren't paying that much attention.
Yeah, I think they're all being mugged by reality. Look, when they kill 1 million of us with a biological warfare attack, you can't treat it as fiction. You've got to recognize that this is a horrible reality. We may want to, ignore it, but we do so at our extreme peril. And I think what you've done with the Economic War Room, what our Team B3 and the Center for Security Policy, our Committee on the Present Danger of China, of which you are such an important part, Kevin, have, among other things, with a series of webinars, over 70 of them in the space of the past 9 months or so, is really try to showcase how this works, how unrestricted warfare has devastated America in these various lines of attack. And as important as anything, the help that the Chinese Communist Party has gotten from Americans, its old friends, as they say, who have been enabling and empowering and otherwise making possible the takedown of our country. It's scandalous, and it has to stop.